Have you ever sat down, opened your laptop, and thought, why is this just so slow? You tap something, nothing happens. So you tap it again, and then everything just freezes. Sound familiar? Don't worry, you're not alone. Today, we're talking about slow devices, slow computers, and slow internet, or at least what seems like the internet. Well, here's the good news. Most of the time, it's fixable. You don't have to be tech savvy, and you usually don't even need to buy a new device. By the end of this episode, you'll know why devices slow down, what you can safely delete, when it's actually your internet, and when it's time to upgrade or replace a device. So let's jump on board. This is the IT Express podcast show. Welcome to the IT Express podcast show, where we break down computers and technology in plain English, no tech degree required. If you've ever felt confused, overwhelmed, or just tired of your devices not doing what you want, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Dave Cooper, and today we're going to make technology simple. First of all, slow isn't always the same problem. There's a lot of parts that make up the performance of a computer, and any one weakness could cause a noticeable performance issue. People often say, my laptop is slow, or my internet is slow. But these are actually different things completely. Your device can be slow even if your internet is fast, and your internet can also be very slow even if your device is brand new. So let's take a look at things on the actual computer first. How do these things seem to work? Turning on the device, opening applications, typing. Is there any lagging there? Switching screens. If several of these are slow, then it could be the device itself. But let's look at things that depend on the internet too. How do these things seem to work for you? Spinning circles on web pages, streaming services keep buffering like Netflix, Hulu, YouTube. Pages load about halfway and then freeze. Then, that is usually the internet or possibly just your Wi-Fi. Look at your Wi-Fi signal strength bars next to your system clock in the bottom right corner. If you have half or less signal strength, try moving closer to your Wi-Fi router or access point. You might have to relocate the router or access point to a better location or even add more access points to be able to provide overlapping coverage throughout your entire home. No tech skills needed to troubleshoot, just observation of where the slowdown actually occurs. The term memory is often confusing to most people. Let's break this down in more simple terms. You have RAM, which is actual memory in the computer. This is like your desk at work or the dining room table. You spread things out on it to actively work on, but you don't leave everything there for very long, at least hopefully. You have storage, which is the disk drive in the computer. This is like a big filing cabinet where you can store your documents in neat little folders for long-term storage. To use your files, you can't really do anything with them while they're still in the filing cabinet. You first have to locate the file, pull them out of the filing cabinet, and put them on a table or desk, sit down, and now you're ready to work on those documents. When you're finished, you put them back in the filing cabinet. Well, computers work about the same way. The more surface area you have on the table or desk, the more documents you can work on at one time, and the more applications you can have open at the same time. If the table or desk is very small, Working with many items at one time can get very confusing and slows you down. Let's look at a few causes of performance issues. Number 1, too many apps running. Every app you open sits on your desk in RAM, even if you aren't using it anymore. Phones are especially guilty of this. Anytime an application is open or running, it uses resources even when just sitting idle. It'll still use memory and processing power just so it can look for something to do. Number 2, not enough free storage. Phones and computers need some breathing room. When storage, your filing cabinet, gets over about 85 to 90% full, things start slowing way down. Computers use this storage as pretend memory when the available amount of memory runs low. It also writes data to temp files while applications are running to store temporary data. And those temp files are usually deleted when the application is closed, but you still want to clear those out on a regular basis because they don't always go away. Number 3, old or insufficient hardware. Sometimes the device is just getting an older processor, older RAM, or just not enough RAM anymore. And the newer apps today are way too heavy for this. Technology moves fast. Possibly it's a good time to upgrade your RAM. Number 4, updates are not getting installed. Updates generally will fix bugs, patch security holes, and make things run smoother. Avoiding updates for a long time can cause chaos. Number 5, overheating. If your device gets really hot, you keep it on a blanket or a pillow when you're using it in your lap, sits in the sun or in the car all day. If the vents are full of dust, it's going to cause some problems. Computers will slow themselves down on purpose to protect their own parts. Computers need airflow to cool off the processor. All processors have a heat sink on them to draw the heat away from the chip itself. However, it still needs air to blow across the heatsink to dissipate the heat out away from the processor and heatsink. Without the proper airflow, it's going to overheat. And this can be caused by multiple things, such as a broken fan, too much dust inside the computer, and clogged vents. Air has to be able to enter and leave the computer case to be effective. Number 6, issues with the Windows image and the component store. When Windows seems unstable, you're going to experience updates failing, apps crashing, and weird system errors. The underlying problem is usually corruption in the Windows component store, and that's the master repository where Windows uses to fix itself. Number 7, issues and corruption in the system files. When the system files have corruption, you might experience slow startup, shutdown, random freezes and crashes, the big blue screen of death, the one that says your PC ran into a problem. Windows features stop working. Windows stops responding. Applications malfunction or even fail to launch. Windows updates fail. You have system instability and glitches. All of these reasons, even 6 and 7, are very common. Don't feel like you did something wrong to cause the issues your computer's having. Believe it or not, I often find file corruption on a brand new computer even after freshly building it. All that has happened was installing the operating system, software applications, and updates. Yet, it still gets corruption somehow. Simple fixes anyone can do. Number one, restart your device at least once per week. Seriously. Restarting clears the memory, closes any hidden applications, and resets all the weird problems. Most people never even restart their phones and really don't think much about rebooting their computers either. Rebooting typically fixes about 80% of all issues. Also, for laptops, most people rarely actually shut down their laptops. Usually, we just close the lid, set it aside, put it back in a laptop bag. And this could go on for several weeks. Meanwhile, the computer doesn't ever get rebooted. It just puts to sleep and then waking up again the next time it's open. Check your power plan configuration to see what happens when you close your lid on the laptop. It could go to sleep or into hibernation, or even worse, it could just keep running. If it keeps running, you put it back in your laptop bag, it'll most likely overheat from a lack of airflow and crash, hopefully not damaging any of the internal components. Or it'll keep running and deplete the battery charge. I personally always shut down my laptop before I put it in a bag. For desktop computers, I highly recommend leaving them powered on and running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. However, they still need a full restart at least once every week. My personal computers at home are all automated to reboot daily around 1 a.m. while I'm in bed asleep. And I'll cover more on how to do this type of automation in a future episode. 2. Delete large videos and photos. When your computer doesn't have enough RAM, Windows automatically falls back to using part of the disk as pretend memory, and this is referred to as virtual memory. Think of this as Windows automatically taking some of the papers off of your desk and putting them in a little box and setting that on top of the filing cabinet, just temporarily to free up part of the disk so you can work better. When Windows needs that data or papers that it put in the box, it has to go back and get them. Videos are the number one storage hog. Try to delete or move long videos, blurry photos, screenshots you don't need anymore, and duplicate pictures. Now, instead of deleting them, you could also move them to the cloud, which we'll be covering in another episode soon, or move them over to a USB drive. Number 3, remove unused apps. If you haven't opened an app in 6 months, you probably don't need it. Go ahead and remove those applications and save the storage space. Also, it's another app that you don't have to worry about upgrading or updating. Number 4, updates. Check for updates on a regular basis, at least once a month. You have Windows updates. If you're on a Mac, you have Mac OS updates. iPhone, Android. Got to do those updates too, right? Software, third-party application updates like Google Chrome, Microsoft Office, your favorite video player. Firmware and driver updates. This is from the manufacturer like Dell, Lenovo. If you're on a Dell, run Command Update. Tell it to run periodically on its own. You can schedule that. Lenovo Vantage, run that. Same thing for the Lenovo. And let the updates run. Don't get in a hurry. They take a long time, but they're worth it. Start it right before you go to bed at night and just let it run for the rest of the night. Check on it tomorrow morning. Number 5, check your vents and your fans. For the cooling to work, you have to have proper airflow through the case of the computer. Internally, there's a little fan that spins and that pulls air into the case, across the components trying to be cooled, like the processor, heat sink, and sometimes RAM, and then out of the case through the exhaust vents. Typically, the air exiting the case will be a little hot. Listen to your computer closely. Do you hear the fan spinning? Are the vents free of dust, lint, etc.? Do you feel air blowing out of the case? Number 6, check your Wi-Fi placement. If you've got slow internet or slow Wi-Fi, try this. Move the router off the floor or off a table. Put it up higher in elevation. You ever walked through your doctor's office and looked up at the ceiling? Try that. You're going to see that they have all their wireless access points mounted up there on a ceiling grid. Keep your access points in your wireless router away from metal objects, microwaves, fish tanks, and really thick walls. Place it somewhere towards the middle of the house if you only have one. Don't hide it in a closet. Better if it has visible line of sight to your computer. Number 7, run the DISM and SFC commands to fix the Windows system image and system files. This fix does have a few commands that you'll need to run in an elevated command prompt. However, don't get worried. I'll walk you through this process step by step. In fact, on the episode description on your podcast player, you should see a link named Step by Step Commands PDF. Go ahead and click that link, and you'll see the commands that you need to run with pictures of the entire process. Think of these 2 commands like this. Let's say your house, your computer, is in ruins and falling apart. DISM, D-I-S-M, is that deep repair tool that fixes the foundation of your house, while SFC is the other contractors like the electrician and the plumber. SFC scans the protected Windows system files and replaces any of them that are missing, corrupted, or damaged somehow. Always run the DISM command first and then follow up with the SFC command. So these commands might take a couple of hours to run depending on the situation your computer is in. Don't get worried. It is perfectly normal. I've seen them run for 6 hours before. Just plan on running it when you have time to let your computer just do its thing for several hours. And DISM often seems to get stuck at 62.3% when it is fixing major issues. It's not stuck. It's just taken a while to fix the bigger issues. Be patient, let it finish, no matter how long it takes. Like I said, could be several hours. So the process for this is, and all of this is in that document for download, click your start button and type the word command. Now in the menu that pops up, you're going to see an item named command prompt. Don't click on it yet. To the right of that, you're going to see several options, including Open and Run as Administrator. Click on the Run as Administrator option, and this will open a system command prompt with elevated permissions. If you are prompted, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Click the Yes button. Now you should see a black window open on your screen. In that window, type the following commands in order and wait for each one to complete before you move on. And again, these commands are in that document for download. DISM, D-I-S-M, space, / online, / cleanup - image, space, / restore health. And then let that finish. That's the one that's going to take the longest. After it finishes, run DISM, space, / online, all one word, space, / cleanup - image, space, space, / start component cleanup, all one word, and let that one finish. That one doesn't take nearly as long. That one's usually pretty quick. After it finishes, run SFC space / scan now, all one word, scan now, one word. That one is going to go out there and see if it finds corruption, and if it does, it's going to repair it. Once that finishes, you can now close the little black command prompt window by clicking the little X in the top right corner. Okay, when is it time to replace or upgrade? First off, if your computer is using a spinning hard drive, then it definitely needs to be replaced with a solid state drive. A spinning drive has the worst performance over any other type of media. Well, maybe not floppy disks. I'll be covering this more in a great detail in a future episode where we will remove the old drive from the computer, clone it to a new drive, and then install the new drive into the computer. If you're unsure if your computer has a spinning drive, please stay tuned so you don't miss that future episode. Here's a good simple rule of thumb for guidance. Computers should be replaced around every 6 to 8 years. Dell and Lenovo both have a maximum of 5 years available for warranty. HP's warranty is only available for a maximum of 3 years. The actual lifespan of the computer can be much longer than this. However, you will be out of pocket for all repairs after the manufacturer warranty expires. And if you want to get the most out of your system, then proper preventive maintenance is going to be very important to you. Like keeping dust blown out of the vents, running your updates on a regular basis, etc. Phones, typically 4 to 6 years. Signs it's time to replace your phone, can't be updated anymore. Battery dies constantly, physically damaged. Anytime the repairs cost about the same as replacement. Okay, so if the repair costs more than 50% of a new device, replacement usually makes more sense. RAM upgrade. Upgrading the RAM in your computer is actually one of the easiest and cheapest upgrades you can perform by yourself. By now, your computer should be running Windows 11, 24H2, or even 25H2. 25H2 is the latest build at the time of this recording. The amount of RAM you should have in your computer should be at minimum 16 gigabytes, preferably 32 gigabytes. Storage upgrades. Upgrading the storage is not difficult, but it can test your nerves if you haven't done one before. But basically, the process is to purchase a new drive, remove and clone your old drive to the new drive, and install the new drive. And again, we're going to be covering both the RAM and the storage upgrades in great detail on an upcoming episode with plenty of pictures and screenshots. Simple, remember this checklist. Here's your beginner-friendly summary. If your device is slow, ask yourself, is it the internet or is it the device? Restart it. Delete large videos and pictures. Remove apps that you don't use. Install your updates. Free up storage space. Check your airflow. Check your Wi-Fi location. Run the DISM and SFC commands. And then consider if it's time to upgrade or replace your device. And remember, slow doesn't mean you're bad with technology. It usually means that the device just needs some cleanup. That wraps up today's ride on the IT Express podcast show. Today, we talked about what slow really means, the difference between storage and memory, why devices slow down over time, simple things you can do to fix it, and when it's time to replace your device. If this helped you, please share it with someone who's always complaining their computer or phone is slow. We all know at least one person. Like and subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode. If you want to download the document with the step-by-step instructions included in today's episode, please click the step-by-step commands link in the episode description here. Thanks for listening to the IT Express podcast show. My goal is to make technology simple, stress-free, and a little less intimidating. If you have questions you'd like me to cover in a future episode, send it in. If you're wondering about it, someone else is too. Until next time, take care, and don't be afraid of your technology. You're in control.